Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. We are back for another United Daily Live at the time of 10:30 p.m. UK time every single night. That is if you're tuned in live. If you're not, then make sure you're joining us every night at that time for the latest Manchester United news, headlines, transfer rumours, all that good stuff. And tonight, we have got so much to get stuck into. Jadon Sancho is the hot topic right now, and we have got contrasting reports from the British press, Simon Stone, Ducker from the Telegraph. All these guys are reporting one thing, and Fabrizio Romano, Bild, Christian Folk are all reporting another thing. So we'll be getting stuck into those reports today from the British press, which say United are threatening Dortmund with walking away from negotiations for Jadon Sancho, and this comes after reports from Fabrizio Romano and others in the foreign press that have said United are very close to getting a deal done. They're in advanced talks with the club, with Borussia Dortmund. They're happy to pay 120 million euros. All they're now trying to do is find out how that 120 million euros is going to be paid. Is it going to be paid in installments? Is it going to be paid in add-ons, etc., etc.? They say, and they have been saying for the last 24 to 48 hours, that Jadon Sancho had in fact agreed terms with Manchester United on a contract. But now the British press are reporting otherwise. But since the British press broke that news at 9 o'clock, now I was tempted to go live at that point. Loads of you guys had jumped in the comments on the live stream because we'd set it up ages ago, and I was tempted to go live and bring you guys the reports from the British press, but I felt, let me just hold my horses a little bit, and I'm sure in the next hour or so Fabrizio Romano or Bild or someone like that will also have a report as well, because this is the time when all the newspapers get their stories out ahead of the next day's releases of the physical newspapers. So I was right in that, and Fabrizio Romano and Bild have further updates that are contrasting to those from the British press. So we will be getting stuck into all of that tonight here on United Daily Live. Make sure you're clicking that like button, commenting, sharing, subscribing as well, because we are here every single night and we have daily content on the channel as well. Obviously tomorrow we won't have the United Daily Live at 10:30 due to the fact that obviously there's a game in progress. There'll be the match and we'll be filming fan cams. We'll have my reaction up after that. But then obviously during the day, if there's any news breaking, we will be live at that point. But make sure you're subscribing, because every day other than match days we will have live news at this time. Get hitting that like button. Before we go further and get the updates on Jadon Sancho, let's do an on this day. Today's date is the 4th of August, Tuesday the 4th, and today's on this day is Saturday the 4th of August 2012. Sir Alex Ferguson is confident he will sign Robin van Persie, the Arsenal striker and Holland international, according to reports. Van Persie has been linked with Italian club Juventus and United's neighbours City, but the Daily Mail insists the Reds manager is optimistic that any further hitches will be overcome for the Dutch frontrunner to become a United player before the season's curtain raiser in a fortnight. Ferguson gets his man with the Footballer of the Year, agreeing terms 11 days later and completing the transfer within 48 hours. Van Persie scores in his second appearance with his first shot of the game in a 3-2 victory against Fulham. So on this day in 2012, Fergie was briefing the press that he was still confident in signing Robin van Persie. And what happened in the end with that one? We signed the man Robin van Persie. Will we have a similar happy ending to this story with Jadon Sancho joining Manchester United? Fingers crossed on that. Jerome T. Green comes in with a super chat and says, pretty sure it's posturing from the club. I'd be shocked if the deal doesn't go through. So right, let's get stuck into these latest Jadon Sancho reports. There's loads of you in the house at the minute, so thank you all for joining us. Today, Telegraph's Ducker reported. So James Ducker from the Telegraph reported, Man United have warned Borussia Dortmund that they are prepared to walk away from a deal for Jadon Sancho unless they lower their demands. Contrary to reports that a deal is close to being done, Borussia Dortmund and Manchester United remain a considerable distance apart in their valuations of Jadon Sancho. Manchester United will not be bound by any artificial deadlines set by Borussia Dortmund for Jadon Sancho. So that was the news that came from James Ducker from the Telegraph. Simon Stone, on the other hand, was reporting as well. And he reported that Borussia Dortmund have been warned by Manchester United that are prepared to walk away from the Sancho deal due to unrealistic demands. This is a key point here. He says they feel the fees and the wages being spoken about take no account of the coronavirus. Adamant clubs far apart and no agreement on wages. United also don't want to repeat the mistake of paying sky-high wages, prepared to walk away and look at other options. Feels like one side's responding to the other side's stance. I wouldn't be holding my breath on the 10th of August deal though. This is an opinion from Simon Stone. Things will have to change for that. Actual deadline is 5th of October. So the 5th of October is the transfer deadline. The 10th of August is this deadline that Borussia Dortmund have apparently set for any deal to be done. Those are the briefings that came from the British press, and what it looked like was Manchester United had briefed Docker, Simon Stone, journalists of that ilk, that they were not close to agreeing a deal for Jadon Sancho. They were nowhere near to agreeing a deal. They weren't even happy with the wages, and this comes hot on the heels of Fabrizio Romano earlier saying that Manchester United had agreed a deal with Jadon Sancho. They had agreed a deal of 250 grand per week on his wages. He even went as far as saying the deal would expire in June 2025. That's how far Fabrizio Romano went. And he doesn't normally go that far unless he's very, very certain on those things. He won't put it out there unless he's certain. He also said there was no agreement yet between the two clubs, but they were in advanced stages in terms of discussions and debate. And then today, when there was British reports also saying the deal wasn't happening, he tweeted saying negative updates aren't true. This is a work in progress. But after these Simon Stone reports, the Telegraph Ducker reports, everybody had then turned to Fabrizio Romano and were thinking, right, is this guy going to tweet? Is he going to say anything on this deal? And what he did was he retweeted something from Christian Falk, which said, update on Jadon Sancho. Man United and Sancho have an agreement on a contract until 2025. The player gets a mega salary, but Dortmund still insist on 120 million euros transfer fee. Now Fabrizio Romano retweeted that. At the time, the British press was saying that United are prepared to walk away because they feel the fee and the wages are too much. So you have Simon Stone, Docker, all these guys over here who are fairly reliable in British reportings, and I'm sure they've been briefed this. They're not making it up. It's come from too many people for them to be making it up. It all got posted at the same time by these guys. So it's clearly a brief from the club. So those guys have been briefed from the club that this deal is on the rocks. United are prepared to walk away and look at alternatives. But you have reliable sources then in Germany, in Christian Falk, saying Man United and Sancho have an agreement on the contract till 2025 and discussions are still ongoing. And then Fabrizio Romano yet again tweeted, and he replied to someone who, after the British press tweeted Fabrizio Romano saying, Fabrizio Romano, come out and explain yourself, please. And Fabrizio Romano replied to him saying, nothing to explain. Personal terms are okay until 2025. Clubs are in talks and trying to find an agreement. Advanced stage, as I said. Still not agreed about add-ons and installments. I have never spoken about any deadline or anything similar. It's a negotiation and talks are on, with this emoji. So that came from Fabrizio Romano after that, in reply to some United fans that were saying, whoa, Fabrizio, you said this deal was done. Now all of a sudden, the British press are saying United are prepared to walk away. What's your take on this? And he said, actually, I've got nothing to explain. He's not actually called out the British press and said, what they're reporting is bullshit. Because these guys won't do that. But what they will do is say, I got nothing to explain. I'm still sticking to my guns. Personal terms are done. Until 2025, he went again and said it. So he's not just saying the player has an agreement. He's saying they have agreed until 2025. They've agreed the finer details. And he's saying the clubs are still in talks and trying to find an agreement Add-ons and instalments are to be discussed. A further tweet then came from him where he quoted, see, there's been loads of information on this tonight. The internet is absolutely popping, and we're going to get loads more stories in regards to this as it keeps developing. And we hear from Fabrizio, who quote tweeted, so Jan Arg Fjortraft. So we've got German reports from Bild, Christian Folk with that update that we read out earlier. Sancho and United have an agreement. Player gets a mega salary. Dortmund want 120 million euros. Fabrizio says that's still the same. They're in negotiations for add-ons and bonuses. Now Jan Arg Fjortraft comes out and says Christian's confirming that the player's contract is done, that Dortmund still want 120 million euros. That's the total fee. Things like this take time. Initial fee, installments, how many years will that be paid in, how to finance it. People who want this deal to happen have got to be patient, like the deal makers. So this is the full story that's coming through tonight. Fabrizio Romano sticking to his guns and saying that deal with Sancho is sorted. 2025, we're just sorting out those bonuses and those add-ons to get this deal over the line. And then we have on the other hand of that, we have the British press reporting United are threatening to walk away from a deal. So these are obviously clashing and contrasting stories. But let me show you something as well. Let me have a look at Twitter here, because we saw similar things surrounding Bruno Fernandes, for example. So United Reports Elliot tweeted an article from back when we were hunting for Bruno Fernandes, and it's United to walk away from Bruno Fernandes deal unless Sporting lower demands. So that's what those guys are saying about Bruno Fernandes. Around the same time we got a deal done. We heard similar things about Harry Maguire. We heard similar things about Aaron Wan-Bissaka. But also, we heard similar things about Dybala. And Dybala was one which didn't happen. So, look, we all kind of have to be prepared here for, the deal might not happen. But I think it's still a 9 out of 10. I still think I'm sticking with the likes of Fabrizio Romano, Christian Folk from Bild. Those guys, I believe in those guys, because United will have many reasons for reporting or briefing the British press in order to say, well, actually, let's try and get this price down still while we're still in those latter stages of negotiating. Let's make Dortmund maybe sweat a little bit. Let's create a little bit of hype around this, because everyone had seemingly thought it was a done deal. And what that affects is, once it becomes widely known that it's a done deal, there's less of a hype around it once it finally happens. And you usually see United do this. They'll brief that the deal's not going to happen, and then a deal will happen, and there's more hype around that deal because everybody thought it was potentially off. Now let's not be naive here. The club care about these things when they're making a transfer happen. Not only does it help in negotiations and getting price down, but it also helps in the big, the explosive news when we actually make that signing happen and all the furore that will be around him. So you have to look at that. But take all these reports with a pinch of salt. Take them as you wish. If you feel Simon Stone's the most reliable one, then take his report as you see it. I don't believe Simon Stone. I don't believe all those guys, Ornstein, etc., would lie. I don't believe they're just going to make these things up for the sake of, clicks and things like that. I do believe they've been briefed these things. But you've got to ask, why have they been briefed these things? The facts are, United are still in negotiations, trying to get that price down, and it creates more hype when the signing eventually happens. And everybody knows this is a signing United want to happen. Let's not be silly here. Everybody knows. The fact that we're hearing these reports from Fabrizio Romano shows you that negotiations are well underway. He's not going to come out and say it without it being true. Now, he hasn't said here we go yet. So that means there's no deal on the cards yet. It's not a done deal. But I believe, and we'd be naive not to believe, that Manchester United have discussed things with his agent. They've discussed things with his agent. They've got an agreement in place there, especially once we got Champions League football. I think that would have sped up the progress with them. So I don't think United are actually worried about Jadon Sancho accepting terms. It's about getting the right deal for them with Dortmund. And once you know the player's going to join, and once you know that there's not really any competition for his signing, you're then in a stronger position. Ed Woodward, Matt Judge and all these guys are probably thinking, why do we need to rush into a deal when we could just drag it on for another week and potentially get 10 million off? Now, for us fans, for the sake of our well-being and our sanity, we want these deals to get done ASAP. You know, there we go. But this is how things are, unfortunately. So we just have to sit by, wait and see what's happening, and hopefully it will be done very soon. What's intriguing is Manchester United are going to be in Germany for the whole course of the Europa League. So for however long we're left in the Europa League after the LASK Lynch game, which is at Old Trafford, however long we're in the Europa League, we're going to be stationed out in Germany. So he could potentially meet up with the squad there if he wanted to get involved in training and those kind of things, if any deal was done. But look, we're not at that stage yet. We're still waiting for negotiations to be complete and United and Dortmund to find a deal. But I wouldn't be so negative about the deal either. These are simple things that happen in negotiations. It just happens. Incomplete says, Adam claiming these British papers have been briefed by the club. Sure. I think, why you think they haven't been briefed by the club? They've been briefed by somebody that's close to this. Whether it's Ed Woodward, Matt Judge, somebody else. They've been briefed from somebody that's at Manchester United. Where else do you think they get their information from? You think British journalists are going to have Dortmund on the phone? They're not going to have Dortmund on the phone. They're going to have Neil Ashton on the phone, who can brief them with words coming directly from Ed Woodward, as we've seen in the past on countless occasions. George says, I don't get why these people think transfers are going to be a 10-minute conversations. These are millions of dollars of assets or millions of pounds of assets. Sean says, I trust Fabrizio. Ross says, hopefully it will be done by Friday. Can't see that being the case, but fingers crossed on that one. Let me know what you guys are thinking about all of this. Is it now turning into a little bit of a mad one? Are we going to miss out on Jadon Sancho? Are you worried about all this news? I know I'm reflecting confidence and positivity, but I'm just one Manchester United fan. How are you guys feeling at home? Do you think this transfer is going to happen? Do you think it's not going to happen? Let us know in those comments below. Get your super chats in. Get joining AdamMcKola TV if you can as well. And of course, get hitting that like button. We've got 2,159 people watching at the moment, but we've got 271 likes. I'm sure you can make that at least 1,000 likes. Get hitting that like button right now. United Doxy comes in with a super chat and says, man like Fabrizio Romano's got pure big bollock energy. Sancho 7s incoming. W's for everyone. Yeah, I can't read my name with the W's on it because that just sounds weird. Manchester United Depresso Espresso no more. Yeah, I'm feeling confident about this one. Is it bad that I'm feeling confident? I just don't know. I don't know. I'm keeping very well, thank you. Neil Costis using his journal links. Olatunde is very worried right now about this one. I'm nervous, Adam. Really nervous. I'm not, man. Let's just relax. Let's not get worried. It's still early days in the transfer window. And up until a couple of days ago, we all expected this one to be dragging on for a while. So there's no reason why it will not continue to drag on. Ramil, stop spamming, man. I can see you in the comments. Just put your normal comment in. He's not boarding a jet in Germany. That's why I ignored it. What has it got to do with anything? Ronaldo says, what have I missed? Well, you've mixed contrasting reports from British press and Fabrizio Romano, Christian Folke in Bild. So British press are saying the Dortmund deal is on the ropes. United are threatening to walk away from negotiations if Dortmund do not come down on their price and the wages aren't seen more realistically as well. Whereas Fabrizio Romano says negotiations between the clubs are still at an advanced stage. They're still ongoing. There's things like bonuses and add-ons and those kind of clauses to be discussed. And the player has agreed a contract with the club until 2025 in June. That's how confident he is of it happening. He even said it's 250,000 a week. So there you go. Those are the two contrasting reports. And Fabrizio's reports have been backed up by Christian Folk as well. Who should United go after the Sancho deal goes through, says Jerome T. Green. I'm not thinking of anybody to go after Jadon Sancho falls through, because I don't think it does fall through. But if you guys want to get your alternatives to Jadon Sancho in the comments below, feel free to do that right now, guys. Get clicking that like button, get commenting, get sharing, get subscribing. Has Alexis Sanchez actually gone? Bailey asks yesterday. For you guys that missed it, Fabrizio Romano gave it the here we go on Alexis Sanchez. Now, you'll recall that Manchester United said to Inter Milan with Alexis Sanchez and Roma with Chris Smalling that you cannot register those players for the Europa League unless you have a permanent deal in place for those players. As a result of that, we saw that Chris Smalling is set to return to Man United. He's not been registered for the Europa League by Roma. Alexis Sanchez has been registered for the Europa League by Inter Milan. And Fabrizio Romano and the guys and others in British press as well, everyone's agreeing on this one. A deal has been sorted between the two clubs. United will not receive a fee, but we will, Inter Milan will take control of his wages. So that's what it looks like is going to go down with that one, with Alexis Sanchez. So he is a done deal. We're just waiting for an announcement on that. Joseph Sam with a super chat says this might mean the deal will be dragged on. Adam, wouldn't be surprised to see that be the case. Tinkiao Coco says with the super chat, I believe in Man United, but then again the last 6-7 years have given me cause to suspect the negotiators will drag this on until late season. And I think we've all got reason to be sceptical of the Manchester United board and the Manchester United negotiating team when it comes to transfers. Even when you look at Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire, these were deals that were simple to make and we dragged them on for the whole summer. So fingers crossed we can ensure that this deal is done in the next week or so. So we're not dragging it on beyond the Europa League. We want him to be involved in first team training at least 2 weeks before the Premier League starts, so he can be ready for that. Do you know what I mean? So let's get him ready, because the German league finished quite a while ago, didn't it? And Dortmund haven't really had any games, so he's obviously been involved in training recently with them. So hopefully we can get it sorted soon. So yeah, there we go. It's been an action-packed roller coaster of a day with all this news. There was also news today that Brandon Williams has signed a new deal at Manchester United, and that was confirmed by the club. That is official news in relation to Brandon Williams signing a new deal at Manchester United, which will keep him at the club until at least 2025. Brandon Williams, he's been speaking about his deal. Sorry, he's signed a deal till 2024 with an option for a further year, which could keep him till 2025. There's rumours that deal's worth around £60,000 per week, which is fantastic for him. Still a family man, he still looks after his family. I'm sure that will change things for all of them involved. And he was speaking about his contract, and he said it feels amazing to sign another contract with the club I've loved for as long as I can remember. It's a proud moment for me and my family, and I'm just excited for the time that I can spend here now. I'd like to thank the club for having the trust in me and rewarding me with a long contract. Like I said, it's a proud moment for me and my family, and I'm so excited. From the start to the finish, it's been amazing. I've loved every single minute, and it's crazy how I've come from the under-23s and played so many games because I didn't expect it. Hard work and dedication and not letting the stage get on top of me are keys to his early success. And I think on top of me, I think it's too easy or I've made it and stuff like that. I just need to stay grounded and keep on working hard, says Brandon Williams. There's a full interview there with him on the Manchester United website, but great to see he's signed a new deal at the club till 2024. Now, towards the back end of the deal, we did of the season, we saw him maybe fall out of form a little bit in terms of, giving away a few mistakes, not looking quite as sharp as he was earlier on in the season. Now, that could have been a result of a little bit of rustiness after the coronavirus break and the pandemic, and obviously Luke Shaw was the main man at left back and getting most of the minutes. And then you obviously look at the fact that he's a young kid, first season in the first team. He's just come from the 23s, his first season in first team football. It's going to be trouble adapting, but I think he's did well. He's obviously naturally a right back as well, so he can play in both flanks. He's been playing at left back. He's been deputising for Luke Shaw when he's not been in the team, and I thought he'd done well. He won a few penalties, got a goal, and he looks like a player that we can develop and keep moulding into a Manchester United fullback, and he's the kind of player that is great for Manchester United. You know, coming through the ranks, hungry, wants to play for the club, he's a fan of the team, and he's got a little bit of quality as well. So that's great. Glenn, how you doing? This means we can get Grealish in the car share. Yeah, we can get Grealish and Sancho though. Let's not give up on this Jadon Sancho deal just yet. Williams has been decent this season, says Ross. Fahan Fabrizio has not said that. I've got Fabrizio Romano on notifications, so if he was to say anything, we would know about it. So ignore. I'll just put these people in timeout for the time being. There we go. The British press said we wasn't in for Bruno. They said it was the Portuguese press getting it out. You reckon it's the same again, says Ashley? It could be, yeah, because what both clubs will want to do is show that they've won the battle of the war. So Borussia Dortmund will want to say we got our full price, 120 million euros. We asked for it, we demanded it, and we got it. Manchester United, on the other hand, if they can agree to be paying 60, 70 million pounds up front and the rest in instalments and add-ons, they will represent that as a victory in the British press. So I wouldn't be surprised to see, once this deal actually happens, the British press saying one thing on the price, the German press and Fabrizio saying another thing on the price, because both clubs will want to say that they won the war in terms of the player. United also want to create hype around it all as well and create a furore around everything. King, what's going on? What do I think about Partey, says Ramil. I think Partey's a decent player. I'd love him to sign for Manchester United. I don't think he will though. So yeah, that's just me. Let's see if there's any more news popping up at this moment in time on the internet, as it's normally the time when everyone gets their stories out ahead of the next day. Obviously, if there is anything out tomorrow before the match, we will break live on AdamMcKola TV with the latest news. So make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, liking, commenting, sharing, hit the notifications, join if you can, get involved in the comments, all that good stuff, because we've got loads more coming up. We're not just here to find out what's going on with Jadon Sancho. We're here to cover everything Manchester United. We'll have reaction to the game tomorrow too. I've got a couple of mods that should be in there somewhere, but obviously this is what's going on. Yeah, man, this is what happens when you get loads of people in, loads of bellends in as well. What can you do, eh? It's only the comments though, I suppose. We are on Paddock tomorrow. We got the watch along for the game. Lask against Manchester United. We'll have the watch along on tomorrow, so make sure you're joining us for that. We'll have fan cams as well and loads of other stuff. So keep it locked. I'm going to get out of here now. Thank you for joining us. Loads more to come, I'm sure, and loads more updates to come as well. Until then, if you missed out and you've joined us late, rewind the video for all of the updates, contrasting reports from England and from abroad on the Jadon Sancho story. See you in a bit.